All right, so I am sick and I've tried to record this part before yesterday when I sounded a little bit better, but obviously you can hear I'm a little bit nasally and stuff like that. So I do apologize. I caught whatever my son had, but I wanted to go ahead and re-record this because I thought I was tripping maybe as far as editing the video, getting ready to rendering it, and then about to upload it. I was like, let me try this again. So I'm just gonna come out flat out and say it that the I-XTech audio mixer is, unless there's something wrong with my model in particular that I-XTech sent out, which is possibly the case, because again, it is a budget item coming around, I think 60 bucks off the top of my head, but it is a device that looks nice. It looks better, in my personal opinion, than the Fine SC3. It has a little bit of extra features, which we'll get into wherever, than the Fine SC3. But when it comes to the practicality of actually using the device, the Fine SC3 sounds better than the I-XTech, I would say, audio mixer, just because of the preamp noise. And when we get to the sound test or wherever, you'll hear it. But I've also included a clip where I try to add a little bit more stuff or wherever through, I would say, DaVinci Resolve, as far as cleaning up the audio and getting it to the best that I could possibly can with a short amount of time that I had with this device. And even then, it didn't really sound good to me. I would say it's barely usable or serviceable. The problem is that the preamps in this thing are way too loud. As far as like the self noise or the noise floor, and when you slide that volume slider up on the I-XTech, I would say, audio mixer, it just introduced even more noise. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at it right now. So the IO layout of the I-XTech audio mixer is pretty interesting in my personal opinion. I like it a lot more than the Fine SC3. You have the Type-C connection to go to your computer or whatever. You have the dynamic or condenser, the phantom volt power, wherever, automatically turns on. There's a light to represent that right here. As soon as you flip it over, it will let you know that it's on. You have the XLR or combo jack right there to plug in the instrument or a microphone. You have the toggle to switch between, and you have the line out and line in. But on the bottom is where your headset and mic goes, or wherever, if you want to introduce a different type of connection or wherever for there. And then obviously the info that's displayed is in a better spot, in my personal opinion, than the Fine SC3 display or wherever, when you're looking at it and looking at the volume and the headphone and all that stuff, wherever information is just well thought out, I would say, layout of the top of the interface or wherever, to be able to see things a lot better in its representation. And then you have the electronic voice changer, you have the actual voice changer over here, electronic meaning auto tune and stuff like that, the same thing that you get on the Fine SC3. It's the same thing here. The custom pads are set up the same way as the Fine SC3. So if you've seen a video on the Fine SC3, how to use it, how to set it up, all the gimmicky stuff people doing a walkthrough or wherever, I'm not going to do that with this device. It's pointless because it's literally the same thing. The only addition is that you have an actual echo slider, and we'll test that. And obviously once you turn it up all the way, it's really good. But once you get to like the halfway mark or wherever, or even lower, you can't really hear the echo as much as you think you would, even at that volume. So it just kind of becomes kind of pointless. And it's interesting that turning up the echo even a little bit starts to reduce the preamp noise on the actual volume slider, which is weird. But then you introducing the echo, and in order to cut this out, you have to pretty much have the echo activated. So that's, even having it running or wherever at the same time is not really even usable. And then obviously you have the volume controls. Another thing about these sliders, this is the only physical thing that I have a problem with. You probably can't really tell too much on the actual camera or wherever, but these are different colored white than the actual, I would say, the actual physical device. I think it's because of this burgundy through line or wherever that they have, just like they have on their microphone, but it's making a discoloration of the actual, I would say, fader like little thing or wherever. And these faders feel a little bit grainy or feel a little bit more scratchy than you would feel on the Fine. They're both kind of scratchy, but this one is a little bit more noticeable, I would say. Other than that, you have the same buttons for monitoring, the same type of RGB that you find on the Fine SC3, you're going to find on the actual I-XTech audio mixer. And what I did when I tested this stuff, I used the Shure MV7X as well as the I-XTech microphone. The Shure MV7X is my most premium, expensive microphone that I own, as far as coming around around 160 bucks when I bought it. Right now it's going on Amazon or wherever for the XLR only version for about 150, and then for 160 you get a combo of having an XLR cable. And I thought it was possibly other XLR cables that I had, but I have like 4 of them at my YouTube studio setup over here, and I tried all 4 of them today, just coming in exclusively with the Shure MV7X, and it didn't sound good at all on any of them. There's nothing wrong with my cables. And on here, like I said before, you have a toggle between 40, 50 and 60 dB of gain, and I've set it to all 3 of those, and I didn't even notice a difference. That's why I think there's something wrong with the preamps or something wrong with the one that I personally have. But chances are somebody's probably going to run into this issue, and I'm leaning more towards that's not the problem, because even switching the gain or wherever, there was no, I would say, noticeable volume increase or anything for the microphone. And this is a Shure MV7X. I don't think it needs that much gain, and even so, 60 dB of gain, it should be good enough for both of these microphones in my personal opinion, as well as some of the other fine microphones and other budget microphones that I have that I did test this with, just not on recording. And again, the dB didn't really do anything. I noticeable, at least to me in my ears. And like I said, I couldn't get it past really the 3rd notch on the volume input or wherever for the actual slider, because if I go any higher than that, that's when all the noise and stuff comes in. And I felt like I had to have the mic pretty much touching my lips or wherever in order to, I would say, get a volume that was good. But on the device itself, it was reaching into the red, telling me that I was peaking. But in OBS, I was hitting around like, I think 20 dB or something like that, and it was decent when I recorded and listened back to it, but you could still hear the preamp noise, the hiss, the white noise, whatever you want to call it, in the background. And when somebody's getting an audio interface like this or wherever, I'm pretty sure even with the Shure MV7X, you're probably going to pick up something like the Wave XLR for the Wavelink software. You're probably going to use something like the PC Panel Pro, which is like $100 for submixes and mixing and stuff like that. So I seriously doubt, I know there's probably people out there who do stuff like that with like the Shure MV7X and the Fine SE3, but I don't find it realistic, because when it comes to these devices, people keep saying that these are for streamers and all that stuff. The company says that, and I've seen people say in the comments that they use it for their streaming and stuff. I personally don't think that these devices are meant for streaming. I think these devices are meant for people who are wanting a better, cleaner little signal or wherever from the XLR microphone, their budget XLR microphone that's coming in under $100, maybe get in a bundle or something like that through Fine, I-XTech, Mayano, whoever else out there, and they're hooking it up and they're going into Discord, chilling with people, maybe hooking this up through consoles. Because I found out that yes, you can hook up the Fine SE3 to Xbox, and I'll leave a video done by Brandon. He's a friend of the channel, a fantastic content creator and YouTuber here on the platform. You should definitely check him out and subscribe to his channel. Very, very informational video there. But he found a way to hook it up wherever to the Xbox, I would say, ecosystem. So even with the Fine one, it just sounds better, you know what I'm saying, as far as the preamps. And Fine is known for the audio and stuff like that, and I think I-XTech is just getting now into audio and everything. And like I said, it could just be boiled down to the version that I have or wherever, or the make and model that I have, because everything that's man-made is not perfect, especially when it comes to these budget items. But I'm still gonna go out on a limb here and just say that the preamps in this thing is not good. The way it looks, like I said, the overall layout of it and what's displayed and what the component is where and how you hook stuff up, and you know, everything on that is better than the Fine. The feel of it or wherever feels a little feels better than the Fine one. And at the time of recording, I think they're around the same price or wherever, I would say, when they're both not on sale, just bare minimum market price. So you are gonna pay like, I think $2 or $3 more with the I-XTech one, which is perfectly fine. You're gonna get, you know, your money's worth in that. But when you're talking about audio quality and you're talking about somebody who's just hooking this up to their console and they don't have third-party ways of getting like VSTs to clean up the audio signal, I'm gonna tell them Fine SE3 all just overall. And when you're on PC and you have a little bit more, I would say, customization options as far as like using NVIDIA Broadcast, which I tried with both of these mixers. And you talk about using, I would say, something along the lines of a VST or wherever, and like I said, DaVinci Resolve or your editing program or something like that, or maybe something with, you know, maybe the Wavelink because you have the Stream Deck Plus or something like that, but not the Wave XLR. But again, I seriously doubt that that's an actual like accurate representation of somebody getting a Stream Deck Plus, which is $200, and then getting a $50, $60 mixer, and then getting a $50 microphone or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't see that happening. It's possible that there's probably a small subsection of people who are doing that. But even if that was the case and you got all the VSTs and stuff through Wavelink and everything, I've used the Fine SC3 over here to test microphones and stuff like that, and brought it into the Wavelink software through the Wave XLR over here, which was usually on my YouTube desk or wherever, or my streaming desk. And what I would do is just bring the Fine SC3 into the Wavelink software, because I had this plugged into my computer, and I would run VSTs and stuff that way. So what I would suggest is that if you're looking at this audio interface from I-XTech, I do apologize, I-XTech, but again, could just be my model, I'm not sure. But the preamp noise is just way too loud. It's just not usable. The sad note is that I was gonna send this one regardless if it was better or worse than a Fine one. I was gonna put it in the box or wherever that I'm sending to a care package to one of my streamer friends who needs this kind of stuff or wherever to increase the quality of a stream. But I can't send this to him because just in my testing or wherever with the Shure MV7X, it's just not usable. And I'm not about to do that to somebody. So that's why, like, I can't even recommend one of my friends or wherever who is doing streaming, who, you know, doing content creation. If I can't recommend that to somebody, then it doesn't get my seal of approval. And that's just my final verdict on it. With that being said, I-XTech does have a good sounding microphone, good, you know, microphone boom arm and stuff like that. It's just, this is their first shot at something like this. And I think they need to go back to the drawing board a little bit. And like I said, work on the components that make up the preamps, because everything else is acceptable, even with the color discoloration or wherever of the actual faders versus the actual physical product. That's somewhat acceptable. But that preamp noise is not acceptable, because one of the core pillars of doing content creation, or even just sitting in Discord or chilling with people, like, and you're talking to somebody, why would you want all that noise? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want that even with a budget microphone? Like, you might as well use a headset mic at that point. You know what I mean? So that's just my thoughts and opinions. Again, sorry for sounding weird or wherever, or looking weird or anything. I am sick. I'm about to go take some more medicine. Y'all take care. Have a squid-tastic day. God bless you and yours. And here's that audio test to end the video.
Echo, testing, 1, 2, 3, echo, 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 testing, 1, 2, 3, echo, 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 testing, 1, 2, 3, got that echo, 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 testing, 1, 2, 3. How's the echo sound? With a sick voice, Squid is going to beat himself up because his voice and his throat hurts. But echo, 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 1, 2, 3. Turn it off, and that's the way it sounds. And then slide it back all the way up, and then you can hear the echo, 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 and then slide it all the way back down. All right, so what I'm seeing in OBS is that noise floor is going up to around, I would say 52 to 53 on dB scale on OBS. And that's kind of not, I would say, wanted noise or whatever of the preamps. And I've tried it on 40, 50, and 60. We're on 60 dB right now, and the noise floor stayed about the same as far as the preamps. It just means how much gain your microphone needs. And what I've done is put the slider, I would say, above to almost a 4th notch on the side. And there's no numbers or whatever for me to see. But what I'm seeing here is that I'm slowly getting into the yellow wherever. So this is perfectly fine in my personal opinion for, you know, my type of voice and everything. What I will go ahead and do is add a background noise removal here. So you can hear how it sounds if you were to add, like I said, the NVIDIA Broadcast or, you know, some kind of VST or wherever in OBS, because that's what I would recommend. And if you're running this in Discord or wherever, there are those little things that you can do in Discord as far as noise suppression, all that stuff. But if you have NVIDIA Broadcast with the NVIDIA GPU, then you can use that as a microphone source, I would say, within Discord or wherever. And if you're on console, though, I'm not sure what settings and stuff you could do to kind of get rid of that background noise. It's not too bad. You would have to tweak your audio wherever on your actual mixer and then maybe in your settings and on your console or something like that to get it to clean up a little bit more, as far as your voice or wherever and everything, and potentially get yourself a better microphone. We'll just have to see on that. But essentially, this is the way it sounds or wherever. I couldn't get it working with the H9s because the H9s, I think, need something a little bit different when it comes to this port or wherever in this extension cable. So I do apologize for not being able to do that, but I can monitor the audio through OBS and stuff like that and see how it sounds. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to the Fine SC3, and then we're going to go back and try the Shure MV7X on both of these audio mixers. All right, so with the actual Fine mixer, I noticed that I have to bump it up a little bit more wherever with this audio mixer as far as the lines go, wherever it's about like the second notch before the halfway mark on the Fine SC3. But I will go ahead and say that the noise or wherever that I'm hearing in OBS is getting up to around, I would say, roughly about 42 or something like that. So it is introducing a lot more noise, but in my personal opinion, the noise that floor wherever that you're hearing on the Fine SC3 is a little bit more of a constant background white noise, whereas the I-XTech one seems like it's kind of dipping out. And I'll go ahead and obviously clean up the audio for the Fine SC3 so you guys can hear it with the I-XTech microphone and stuff. So it just depends on what sound that you like or wherever on it, and what you can do as far as clearing up the audio and how both of them sound to you or wherever as far as clearing it up and everything. And I will have to give my thoughts and opinions obviously after editing it and applying the stuff or whatever. So let's go ahead and jump over to the Shure MV7X and try and get that microphone out on both of these audio interfaces. 1 dB off, so it's hitting around like 43 or 44 dB or wherever inside of OBS with the preamps turned all the way up or wherever through the microphone source. And obviously this is the way it sounds with the Shure MV7X. I will go ahead and try to put a background noise removal or wherever through NVIDIA Broadcast or wherever through it, so you can hear, I would say, the audio difference or wherever in post or editing or wherever, so you can hear it. And this is the way it sounds with the Shure MV7X. Now the Shure MV7X, at least the last time I looked at it at the time of recording, was around $150, and then with the XLR cable is around 160. Obviously, with the I-XTech audio interface as well as the Fine SC3, you're going to have to get a XLR, I would say, cable or something like that. But with the I-XTech microphone, you do get an XLR cable, and obviously it's going to be cheaper than the Shure MV7X. So it just depends on what are you going to do and what you're going to use for your use case scenario. All right, so I set the I-XTech actually dB to about 60 on this thing. All right, so I set the I-XTech actually dB to about 60 on this thing. So future squid here, I want to go ahead and say with the I-XTech mixer and the Shure MV7X, I noticed that I had the dB switch on the backside of the audio interface set to 60, and you don't want to do that, I would say, with the I-XTech microphone or even a more premium microphone like the Shure MV7X. I would set it to 40. That's where it is right now. And on the notch or wherever for the audio interface or wherever, it's around the third mark on the volume or wherever. And I think this is perfectly fine as far as how much noise you're getting or wherever into your recording or, Discord, whatever. And I would use third-party tools or wherever to clean up the audio a little bit more. And like I said, you're going to hear it when I put on the background noise removal that it should clean up the audio a little bit more. And again, you can use this if you have an NVIDIA GPU or you're using some kind of VSTs or plugins or wherever for OBS or any editing software or something like that. I think that you're going to get a lot more out of this audio mixer if you have those tools or wherever at your disposal than you would with the Fine one. But in my personal opinion, if you don't have those tools and you're just trying to get an audio mixer or wherever for XLR purposes, and you want the best sounding audio without having to do all those extra steps, then I would lean more towards the Fine SC3. With that being said, let's go ahead and wrap up.